2019 Ferrari 812 Superfast review turned up to 12. In the broad, ill-defined spectrum of modern Ferraris, the F12 Berlinetta stands supreme in my book. It is as sultry to behold as it is sonorous to hear, not to mention a true joy to drive aggressively. It's also remarkably refined when cruising around town and just an all-round wonderful machine. What can I say, I was pretty smitten back in 2014. Holding the F12 in such high regard means I'm bringing baggage into this review of the Ferrari 812 Superfast. This, you see, is the 789 horsepower, $337,000 replacement for the F12, a new generation that's dialed up in every way. It's louder, both visually and audibly, more powerful, more extreme to drive, and ultimately quite a bit quicker around a racetrack. But is it actually better? Let's explore. The platform. The 812 Superfast inherits that sweetest of Ferrari layouts, a V12 up front sending a few stables worth of ponies through to the rear wheels. Yes, I have full appreciation for the capability of machines like the mid-engine 488 GTB, a car absolutely divine to drive on the road or the track, but when it comes to the overall experience, 12 cylinders firing ahead of you is an awfully hard recipe to beat. Especially when they fire like this. Compared to the F12, the Superfast is slightly longer and wider, yet lighter than its predecessor. The earlier 6.3-liter V12 is replaced with a 6.5-liter version of the same, powered up from 730 horsepower to that ridiculous figure of 789. That's paired with 530 pound-feet of torque, directed to the rear wheels through a 7-speed, dual-clutch transmission. The result is a car that's Ferrari's fastest regular production car, carrying its highest power naturally aspirated V12 ever. A lot of that comes down to the technology keeping it all in check, including a more advanced stability and traction control system that can directly integrate everything from the rear steering system to the new electronic power steering. On the road. The steering of the Ferrari 812 Superfast is so incredibly sharp that, when flying over some of my favorite local roads, I barely needed to turn the wheel. Aided by a new rear steering system that virtually shortens the car's wheelbase, just a few degrees of turn one way or the other sent this machine slinging around bends that typically see me tapping the brakes and grabbing a lower gear. I actually had to go searching for more challenging roads as sacrifice I was more than willing to make for you, dear reader. This is also the first street car I've ever driven that required I aggressively warm up the tires before really unleashing it. Granted, my testing coincided with an early arrival of unhelpful autumn chill, but this Ferrari monitors tire temperature and goes out of its way to tell you when they're cold, politely requesting you get them up to temperature before enabling its raciest of driving modes. Wrap up. In terms of outright performance, the Ferrari 812 Superfast is a triumph. Ferrari's most powerful naturally aspirated engine is set with care into a polished chassis festooned with a world-class suspension, transmission, differential and all the go-fast bits you could ever want. Unleashed and driven in anger, piloted with purpose, it's a remarkable package that will quite literally leave you breathless. It's also quite easy to drive in a sedate way should you be into that, but there's an unfortunate gap in between those two extremes. When I wanted to have a spirited drive without going for lap records, I found the 812 to not be the world-conquering all-rounder I'd hoped. So, if you found the F12 to be too soft for your tastes and you've just gotta have a V12, the amped-up, Agro 812 Superfast will be your ideal cup of tea scalding hot and best served with a warning label or 3.